Hey there, y'all. I'm Juliette Miranda, and I'm here today to share my top 5 whiskeys of 2019. Now, y'all know I am a big whiskey drinker, so trying to narrow down all the whiskey that I drank in 2019 was a little bit of a scary task. I had to establish some guidelines for myself. Here's what I did. Now, this could have very easily have been my all-time favorite list, but I didn't want to do that. Instead, I'm focusing on the whiskeys that I tried for the first time this year. So that means you're not going to be hearing about Wild Turkey, not going to be talking about Larceny. I'm talking about the new to me whiskeys. Now, they may not be new to 2019, but this is the first time I drank them, and these are the ones that blew me away. Now, I tried to give you a good mix of whiskeys here. I've got 2 that are splurge and 3 that are very reasonably priced. So if you're looking for something new to try, if you're looking for something to bring to that holiday party that you can share with all of your friends, hopefully you're going to find something here. Or if you're like me, you'll just hoard the whiskey yourself and drink it all alone. First on my list is Cream of Kentucky, and this comes from the J.W. Rutledge Distillery. Now, Jim Rutledge used to be the master distiller for Four Roses, so I admit that Cream of Kentucky here does have something of a similar profile to the Four Roses. That being said, however, it is aged 11 and a half years. Now, at $150, this is the most expensive bottle on this list. But bear with me, y'all, because this is one tasty bourbon. You get that perfect bourbon profile. It's sweet, it's creamy, and those extra years in the barrel really give it a nice oaky flavor, but not like an overbearing one. It doesn't taste like you're sucking on the barrel. It's just really perfectly balanced. Next up is New Riff Straight Rye Whiskey. New Riff is a small distillery out of Kentucky, and y'all, as far as I am concerned, they are doing everything just right. From selecting the grains to distilling to all of the above, these guys really pay attention to details. Now, I have loved everything that I've tried from them, but this rye whiskey really stood out. It's got a great mash bill, y'all. If you like big rye whiskeys, this is one for you because the mash, 95% rye and 5% malted rye. Now, the first time I tasted this, it reminded me a little bit of a Christmas cookie that I make. It's made with dark chocolate, a little bit of orange peel, and a little bit of black pepper, and that's what this tastes like. It's got that perfectly spicy baked good balance. Oh, it is absolutely heavenly, and at $45 a bottle, total value. Next up is Bardstown Fusion Series number 1. Now, when I talk about whiskey and bourbon, I am always saying that we all have our own personal flavor profile. You know, some people like their whiskey a little bit more sweet, some people like it oaky. Me, I like it spicy. But this is not an all or nothing thing. I mean, you can get a really good balance of those flavors in a single bottle. And that's why I'm calling out Bardstown Fusion Series number 1. This is a blended bourbon, and when done right, oh, y'all, I love a good blended bourbon because that mad science of looking for the best bourbons and blending them together, you get something that's so perfect. And at $60 a bottle, this series number 1 is outstanding. And it's a blend of a wheated bourbon, a high rye bourbon, and an 11-year bourbon. And together, you get such a complex flavor. You get that classic bourbon flavor, very creamy, and then you get that rounded out finish with the spice. It is so good, y'all, and you really can't find a better value. Next up, let's talk about Driftless Glen Single Barrel Straight Rye Whiskey. Now, I admit, y'all, I can be very, very hard on craft distilleries. And Driftless Glen is a craft distillery out of Wisconsin. See, when it comes to craft distilleries, my fear is that they either get too cute with the mash bill. You know, they'll do something like add lemon peel to it and a little bit of sugar and call it a bourbon cordial, which, ugh. Or, you know, they'll rush their whiskey to the market. And I get that because it takes a long time to make a good bourbon, and they don't want to wait for it. But me, I don't mind waiting for a good release. And I gotta say, Driftless Glen, Single Barrel Straight Rye, it's worth waiting for because it's so good. What I like most about this is that it has a really sort of black tea flavor. It's a little herbal, it's a little bitter, but it's really well balanced and smooth and so easy to drink. Now, this is made grain to glass. That means Driftless Glen has selected the seeds, they've distilled it, they've bottled it, and they've really done a nice job with this one. I think of this as a rye that you can give to somebody who doesn't necessarily like rye whiskey. Like my guy, he hates rye whiskey, but I gave him this and he was all over it. And it's only 55 bucks a bottle, so it's a great value. Finishing up this list is Uncle Nearest 1820 Single Barrel Tennessee Whiskey. Now here's your whiskey lesson for the day, in case you're not quite sure. For something to be a Tennessee whiskey, well, of course, for starters, it's got to be made in Tennessee. It also needs to go through a maple charcoal filtration process, and it has to be 51% corn. So in effect, this is a bourbon with a couple of extra add-ons. Now the 1820 is $130 a bottle, which I understand is a little pricey, and I have to admit I've heard some comparisons to this in George Dickel. That being said, it's been aged 11 years, and I think those extra years really give this such a perfect balance of flavors. For starters, this is the smoothest whiskey I have had in a long, long time. I mean, just creamy, like cream soda almost. It's sweet, it's smooth, it's got that oakiness to it. Y'all, it's so good. Now, I get that price tag might be a little daunting, so because of that, I want to give a special shout out to the 1856 release, also from Uncle Nearest. It has a similar flavor profile, just without that extra aging on it. It's only about 40 bucks a bottle, so you're going to get a really nice taste, just not quite as robust. Still excellent. Definitely something you're going to want at one of your holiday parties. So y'all, I hope you enjoyed my top 5 whiskeys of 2019. I hope you found something that you're going to want to try. Now, if you like what you saw, y'all, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have all sorts of bourbon-soaked craziness going on here. Anyway, y'all, I hope you enjoyed the whiskey. I hope y'all have a great holiday. Cheers, y'all.